All right, welcome back. Uh, Welcome to BB's Finds. This is my second video in quarantine. I'm Blake B. I've got many collections. Yesterday we talked a little bit about my small Laserdisc collection. I also collect books, toys, CDs, DVDs, records. I'm a record collector by trade. Got into this um, kind of curatorial collecting ever since I was a child. I do a little bit of reselling as well, mostly books and DVDs out of print stuff. Um, Today we're going to talk a little bit about the autograph book collection I have. It's not like I went out and purchased an autograph book collection. I do a lot of thrift store finding stuff. So the books that I find, it's actually kind of happy surprise when I find an autograph. I don't go seeking this stuff. It's more like I take it home, I buy it. It's like kind of sight unseen. Just look at the condition, rough condition, flip through it, maybe a little bit. But this is a lot of this is just like I came home, looked at the book afterwards, and like, oh, okay, well that's pretty cool. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Rachel Kapp for letting me know I can use the microphone in the iPhone headphones as a microphone to get better sound quality. Yesterday's video for the Laserdisc, the sound quality wasn't that great. That's okay though. We're learning. It's a learning curve. I'm happier to show my mistakes or my faults or whatever than to go back and edit things 100 billion times. Just want to make you guys happy. Just want to pass the time. Just want to share my collections and stuff with you. So let's start out with some stuff that's let's see. I'll save those for last. Um, I have kind of three categories here that I want to talk about. Um, let's see, three or four. Let's see, three or four categories. Well, let's see. I've got three categories here, plus one I want to show you off the bat. So the first one I want to show you off the bat is an autographed book. This is a very unique book. I'm into sort of the historic elements of druidry as well as runes. I don't practice tree magic, but it is kind of cool to learn about, druids and things like that. So this is the Book of Runes, by Rolf Blum. I actually have a hardcover version of this as well. This is a first edition, number 153 out of 300, and it's signed by Rolf Blum. So this guy's kind of the foremost expert on runes, ancient runes. The druids used them, and it's a pretty cool read. I flipped through it a little bit. He talks a little bit about even like Tolkien. There's Tolkien quotes and T.S. Eliot quotes in here and things like that. So it's a pretty slim volume, but handy kind of reference or companion piece to like druid type books. So that's kind of like the bonus category. I got that out of the way up front. So what I'm going to do now is I will go through the kind of the next tier, which is comic books. So these are comic books that are signed by the authors of the books or the artists. So first up, I have a Star Trek Next Generation Doctor Who crossover. This book is signed by Scott Tipton. You can see there in silver. He's one of the artists, I believe, either artist or author of this book. Oh, written by. Okay, so him and his brother David Tipton wrote the book. But it's a Doctor Who Star Trek The Next Generation crossover. Pretty cool. Hardcover. I was pretty stoked when I found this. This is like, in terms of collecting, like I said in my first video, like I'm not a hoarder by any means. I can get rid of things pretty easily, which kind of tells me I'm not a hoarder. So always slimming down collections and things like that. Mostly the comic books and records and CDs. No, not so much records these days, but I need to go through those records. Note to self. So that's Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. Next up we have Planet of the Apes Visionaries. This is a Rod Serling. Let's see, based on Rod Serling's Planet of the Apes, by Dana Gould and Chad Lewis. This is another thrift store find of mine. So this is signed by. This is a Dana Gould signature. I went online to look it up just to kind of compare what his signature looks like versus this one. These aren't authenticated because they're all thrift store purchases. But what I do is sometimes I just go online and compare. If I find something that is signed, I'll go online and compare. We have Jeff Johns' signature. Jeff Johns was the chief, I believe the chief writer for DC for a time, but this is a Green Lantern book, Green Lantern No Fear trade paperback. Jeff Johns' signature is right here on the cover. Pretty cool. Next up we have Daniel Close. This is a book called Caricature. It's a hardcover book. And right here on the second page, or the first page, his signature, Daniel Close. This is the guy who did Ghost World. He's sort of the Michael Jordan of independent comics, sort of like the indie, I don't know what you call him, like the Fantagraphic type stuff. But definitely like one of the more like heavy dudes in that category. Okay, next up we have science fiction. I've got a myriad of cool science fiction. This is kind of the ones I wanted to show you. I have some more autographs, but today, just to keep this video short and not bore you guys, I just want to go through 4 of them real quick. The first one is this book, The City on the Edge of Forever. Now, if you're a Star Trek fan, you probably know this story well. City on the Edge of Forever was one of the original Star Trek television show stories. This was done by, the story was done by Harlan Ellison, a famous science fiction writer. This is a really unique find because of who it was signed to. I'll show you this. So here's Harlan Ellison's signature. This is something like limited to 100 or 1,000 copies. It's a numbered copy, but there's no number on it, which makes me think it was Harlan Ellison's copy. But if you look closely, it was signed to Bruce Boxleitner, who was Clue from the original Tron movie. Is he Clue? Yeah, he was Clue from the original Tron movie. Could be wrong about that. I might have to go check my notes. But yeah, this is a Harlan Ellison signed book. Pretty cool science fiction writer. Next up we have a local guy. This is Ray Bradbury. I believe he lived in Moorpark, California. So here we have Ray Bradbury, I Sing the Body Electric. And there's a signature there dated 1982, 11/17/1982. It's actually from some time ago. It was written in marker. Again, not authenticated. But compared it online to a signature of his and looks like a match. Pretty good match. I don't know why someone would sign a book and then donate it. This is pretty funny. This is maybe not the ideal book to have signed by this author, but what we have is Frank Herbert and Bill Ransom. It's called The Lazarus Effect. Frank Herbert being one of the best science fiction author of all time, is my favorite science fiction book, Dune. So here's his autograph. He crosses out his name and he wrote his autograph in down below. Pretty funny. I think that's kind of a sense of humor. I'm very excited. I just saw some pictures about the new Dune movie that's coming out. Denis Villeneuve, who directed the Blade Runner 2049, is directing The Arrival. Is directing the new Dune movie, which should be pretty stellar. Timothée Chalamet plays Muad'Dib, aka Paul Atreides, aka the Kwisatz Haderach. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Looking forward to that. It's going to be done in 2 movies. This is the last of the sci-fi stuff. This is kind of the cornerstone. I really love this piece. Sid Meets Century. I'd be happy just to find this book on its own. And I was like stoked to find this book. Just because it's all this very futuristic art. We talked a little bit about Sid Mead yesterday. He's the concept designer for Blade Runner. He also draws like a myriad, I'm just flipping through right now, but a myriad of futuristic vehicles and cars and things like that, weapons and ships, stuff like that. So on this first page, right there, that's an original Sid Mead signature. I found that, I think, at a library. Believe it or not, I love libraries so much, and I like going to thrift stores and just finding things that make me happy, I guess, for my collections. And yeah, it's a happy day when you can find something like that just in general, like without even an autograph. I mean, Sid Mead art book. Come on. So up next we have a couple pop culture type signatures. I was looking for a Wu-Tang Clan, the Wu-Tang Manual. I was pretty into the television show for a while, and I wanted to get the book, so I went to my local used bookstore. And I found a copy of the Wu-Tang Manual for a few bucks, and then I found this. This was probably like $3 or $4, but it's the history. This day in rap and hip hop history by Chuck D from Public Enemy, one of my other favorite hip hop groups. Right there, we have a signature from Chuck D, so that's pretty awesome. And then we got this one's was a conundrum. So I found this book, Lou Reed. I bought it based on principle. I mean, I would have just picked it up and not even flipped through it or looked at it, just because it's called I'll Be Your Mirror. It's all the lyrics of Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground that he's ever written. It's kind of like almost like a poetry book, like a collected works story. The forward was written by Martin Scorsese. I'm assuming he was friends with Lou Reed. Lou Reed had a lot of friends during his lifetime. And here on this page, in silver, we have an Oscar winner signature. Yay, yay! It's Martin Scorsese's signature. This is another one where I purchased it, took it home, didn't think of anything. I was kind of flipping through it as I was, I don't know, just kind of going through my stuff that I bought that day, and saw the signature. It said, it can't be Lou Reed's signature. He's passed away. The book was published after he died, unfortunately. Great talent. But I looked at the signature again and said, oh, wait a minute. Scorsese wrote the forward, went online, compared it to a Scorsese signature online, and there we go. So that's pretty much it. Autographed books, pretty awesome. If I can find more, I'll post more. Really not acquiring anything right now, any inventory or to sell or anything to collect, because, well, here we are at home, weathering this thing out, and as soon as this lifts, I think the getting's going to be fairly good. Most people are going through their stuff, spring cleaning style, I guess you can call it, if their houses, and maybe some gems coming up when this thing lifts, and when I can go out and find stuff again. But yeah, for now, just kind of holding my collections and sharing with you guys, and I hope you're all well and having a good day. I will talk to everyone soon. Thanks.